and slowly start to build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can build a beautiful city, not a city of angels, but finally a city of men. A city of men.
Well, that was beautiful. Good morning. My name is Mary Underwood, and I serve on the Board of Trustees of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spartanburg and as the chair of the annual fund drive. Welcome to this sacred space. We are glad you are here. At UUCS, we strive to be a beloved community of warmth, love, support across all our differences. This is a welcoming congregation where everyone is welcome just as we each are. If you are visiting with us this morning, we would love to meet you. Visitor cards may be found in the pocket on the back of the chair in front of you. Please feel welcome to fill one out and place it in the offering plate during the service so we can connect with you. There is always a lot going on in the life of this congregation. Find the probably you should do the March Connects. It's March 1st. It's being given out today in the lobby. Look through your one-page weekly calendar at the back of your order of service, and always check your weekly happenings. Join us for coffee hour after the service today, a time of fellowship and food. Thank you to Terry Rockwell for hosting. If you would like to help host coffee hour during the month, or if you would like to volunteer in other ways like helping to clean our facility, we could use your help. Sign up through the volunteer sign-up genius in each week's happenings. Away Home, March 2025. UUCS is gearing up for another 2-week stretch to support up to 4 families experiencing homelessness. We will host families from Sunday, March 15th to Sunday, March 29th. We need your help. There are many ways to get involved, such as providing a meal, spending time with families through activities, serving as an overnight host, or simply listening and offering support. Your opportunity is open to everyone, including youth, to be with families. If you are interested in supporting this effort, sign up via the Sign Up Genius link in the happenings to volunteer. Everyone who volunteers needs to have attended or to attend volunteer training. If you did not attend one in September or December, there will be one today, this Sunday, March 1st, immediately following the service. This evening, Sunday, March 1st at 4 p.m. here in the UUCS Sanctuary, we will host our monthly Progressive Christian service in collaboration with the UCC and Reverend Mariana Harrelson. Signe McBath, Davelin Athena, and Faith Taylor will join Reverend Harrelson to lead us. All are welcome. These are kind, open, welcoming, and affirming services in the Christian tradition, parallel to our monthly humanist meetings and the second Wednesday evenings of each month and our regular pagan circles throughout the season of the year. I'm going to give my annual fund update in just a minute, but let me say first to thank you all for all you do to make this a place of love, warmth, and welcome for all. So, our update. It's very exciting. Can we have a yay? Woo! Okay, good. I'm really happy, guys. This is going fantastic. So as of Thursday, that's when MEGA is here. And as y'all may remember from your flyer, MEGA is the only one that looks at your cards. So as of then, we had raised, in our intent to giving, $214,149. Woo! And we have heard from 76 households, which is only half of what we're hoping for. So We're at 2/3, at half. And I just want to say good job and keep it going. And just to say, this is our minimum goal. Feel free to exceed it. I'm going to tell y'all a little something you may not know. You might be like, why is this woman talking to us about this? Be patient. Hopefully you'll catch the drift. So we all know about the very, very wealthy that hoard more money than they will ever be able to spend. And it's baffling to us. But most people misunderstand what this is about. Most people think it's about greed. And don't get me wrong, they're generally greedy. But it's about fear. There's this weird thing that happens when you have a wound in you about there never being enough. And that thing is that the more you have, the more afraid you become of losing it. So it means that the more some people have, the more they hold on to, the more they're afraid to let it go. I want to use this because it's one of the most hyperbolic, glaring examples of a dynamic that can happen to all of us, which is that we lose the plot. We lose the purpose of money. And money, inherently, just hard, cold money, has no inherent objective worth. None at all. At best, it's a piece of paper. At worst, it's some numbers on a screen. Money's only purpose can be found in what we do with it, how we use it, what we create with it, what we facilitate with it, what we grow with it, what we feed with it. Money in a bank account, while it provides some security, and I'm not suggesting any of us go to Las Vegas and empty our accounts. I would never encourage that. But to understand that money's purpose is in what it can do. Because money, like everything else, is energy. It is energy that is either used to feed the world, or it is energy that is hoarded and withheld from the world. And that is why it does not matter how much you give. It isn't the number. It is the energy. It is the purpose. It is pulling your energy into the collective, into the whole, so that it can be used for real creation, nurturing, support for this world, for this community, for everything. And I want you to understand that. We don't just say it doesn't matter how much you give because we're trying to be nice. We do try to be nice, but it's because it's true. It's because it's true. It's the energy that matters. And let me be clear. I am asking you guys to take a leap of faith. I am asking you guys to stretch and to trust that we will fly and that we have each other's backs. But let me be very, very clear. No one in here wants you to break. That is not the point. And if you cannot offer anything material without feeling like you're going to break, that is fine. But we still need you to participate. That's why we changed the cards this year. So there's a place to check. I am unable to intend to give in this moment, but I look forward to engaging enthusiastically with this church. And it matters because you matter. Every single one of you matters. Every single one of you's energy is needed so that we can fly. So please pull out your card, do what you can, and join us. I'm going to have Robin and Brandon come and give a little testimonial to why they give. And once they're finished, we'll invite Fred Stoll forward to speak with us about the progress we have made with our mission, vision, covenant, mission, objective 1, Operation Facelift.
Well, I'm not sure we have much to add on top of what Mary just said, but my name is Brandon Carter, and this is my wife, Robin. We first visited UUCS in January of 2018 and joined as members later that same year. We were drawn by the inclusiveness that this place has for all seekers. This is a place where everyone's spiritual journey matters. where open dialogue is so much better than closed-mindedness, and where social justice and walking alongside others is better than pointing fingers. Our Christian faith tradition teaches us to tithe. The definition of that word means less than its purpose. Tithing is a spiritual practice meant to honor God, prioritize faith above material wealth, and support ministry work. It's a reminder that God is the source and serves as a tangible act of worship meant to express thankfulness.
Here at UUCS, we have found a place where generosity also means investing in our shared community, where your generosity is helping us to grow and shape our own faith. Brandon and I are committed to using our finances to support the work that is done here and that flows out of here. We've long believed that our money should follow our values. It guides where we shop, where we don't shop. Those of you who know, you know. What organizations we support and what causes we champion. Giving to UUCS of our time, our abilities, our finances, our energy, and our prayers is what we committed to when we chose to become members here.
I grew up understanding what it meant to work and to give back to the church. A lot of that coming from my grandparents when I was little. Robin grew up understanding what it meant to be generous and to invest timely in others. We invite each of you to explore what that looks like for your commitment to give as well. As both acting former annual fund campaign chairs ourselves, we encourage your questions and hope that you'll submit your intent of giving for the 26-27 fiscal year.
Find extra brochures and cards in the lobby or submit your intent to give online at uucs.org/pledge. Regardless of how you found UUCS, we are glad you are here. And as for us, we believe we're created for community, for worship, and to be generous. And here at UUCS, we have found a community that lets us all be generous with the best of who we each are. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Fred Stoll, and I'm the project manager for our Operation Facelift, which is a nickname for our mission objective to plan and improve our facilities. I work with the Long Range Planning Committee in this, along with Naomi Richardson, who is the chair of our Buildings and Grounds Department. And of course, we have a lot of different committees in the church that contribute to the whole effort. Since last summer, we've really focused on engagement with an architectural firm to develop recommendations for building improvements. And as such, we've not been pushing for a lot of other sort of standalone improvements in this period, but there are a few things I'll mention. Our technology team has installed a new building-wide Wi-Fi service that provides seamless connection as you go throughout the building. Yeah. Our video team has also done a lot of improvement behind the scenes for our equipment, our practices, and streaming resources for live streaming Sunday, solving problems as they arise, and they always arise. Our green team has planted 2 new live oak trees. Live oak is a kind of oak near the bottom of the slope behind the sanctuary, and those will grow to provide shade and animal habitat for decades to come. We've replaced our outdoor water faucets by the front door, which were damaged by the cold. And this may sound like a trivial problem, but it reflects a wide variety of users requiring water for various purposes during the year. And one of our communications and audiovisual team members is working on the design of a system to have a digital display out at the entrance to the front parking lot, which shows how many open parking spaces there are, both regular and handicap. So, yeah. So following up on the congregational dialogue we had last November with architect Dave Benham, we expect to soon enter a new contract phase with him. At the November meeting, we said that we would focus first on improvements to Wild Hall, that's the space downstairs, and the sanctuary. Now, in committee discussions, we started thinking that we could move ahead with more improvements at the same time, such as a new entry in the front of the building with, with new common spaces so we wouldn't have to always walk through Fellowship Hall, and perhaps a new stairway to Wild Hall. But rough cost estimates provided by Dave led to our realization that we really have to move slowly in small steps to really understand costs. So we're back focusing on improvements to this space in Wild Hall. And we've asked Dave to provide multiple options for improvements with corresponding cost data, so we can do some picking and choosing to get the best combinations of features and affordability. We're also pursuing a contract with a landscaper, John Fritz, who Alice Sutton and the Green Team have been working with for a few years. And there's really 3 goals to this master plan. First, it will provide a plan that can be shared with you all for feedback. Second, it can be implemented by the Green Team step by step without them having to constantly come and get each new step approved. And third, we want to quantify up front the effort required near-term and long-term to maintain the many plantings and garden areas. We want to make sure we're creating something that we can take care of into the future. Thank you.
We're lighting the chalice. Think from the origins of totalitarianism by philosopher Hannah Arendt. Under conditions of tyranny, it is far easier to act than to think.
Please join us in hymn number 119 in your gray hymnal, Once to Every Soul and Nation.
The rippling bowl is, wait a minute. The rippling bowl is a time that we share our joys and concerns with our beloved community. We place a stone or shell in the water. Our joys are magnified and concerns lessen as the ripples go out. Kathy will place a stone and shell in the bowl for those who are not able to come to the rippling bowl. I invite you to come now.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver song of the lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver song of the lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone.
You're good. We don't have a creed we say each Sunday. Our beloved community wrote a covenant for us to live by each day. I invite you all to say it with me. And you can find it on the screen if you are watching virtually, and in your bulletin. With courage we say, we are a people of faith and hope. Together we covenant to strive to become our better selves, to honor both the critical mind and the generous heart, to prove that diversity need not be liousness, and to respond to systems of violence and oppression with the power of love beyond belief. Now we come to this time that some of us don't like in our service. But each Sunday we set aside a time for people to greet one another. Please be mindful of each one's personal space. You can remain in your seat if you like, if you prefer. When you hear the music, please return to your seat so we can continue with the service. Now, let the holy chaos begin.
Testing.
If there are any children who would like to join me for Time for All Ages, I would love to have you come down front. Allie, you want to come? Come on over. I have a question. What is consciousness? Have you ever heard that word before? No. It's a big word, isn't it? Aware. Brilliant, done. Okay, we'll see y'all later. Yes, it does mean aware. It does. I have a book I'd like to read to you. Can I read y'all a book? It's a quick one. All right, it is called I Am Henry Finch. The Finches lived in a great flock. They made such a racket all day long, they really could not hear themselves think. Every morning they said, "Good morning." Every afternoon they said, "Good afternoon." Every evening they said, "Good evening." At night they said, "Good night." In the morning they started over. It was always the same, except sometimes the beast came. Then they would all shout, "The beast! The beast!" and fly as fast as they could to the top of the nearest tree, where they would sit and shout until the beast moved on. This was the way it always was, until one night something else happened. A finch woke up in the dark and the quiet. He had a thought, and he heard it. I am Henry Finch, he thought. I think, he thought. He sat still and listened to his thoughts. He had more of them, and he liked them. Am I the first finch to ever have a thought? He thought. I could be great, thought Henry. The next morning, the beast came. It was the time for greatness. I am Henry Finch, screamed Henry Finch, and he dived down straight at the beast, who ate him. It was very dark inside the beast and very quiet. I will listen to my thoughts, Henry Finch said, but they were bad thoughts. You are a fool, Henry Finch, he thought. You are not great. You are only someone's dinner. Now Henry did not like his thoughts at all. He tried not to think, but what else could he do? He thought and he thought and he thought. Who am I? He thought. Am I Henry Finch? I am something, I think. I am, he thought. It is, he thought. Then all his thoughts fell silent. He became aware of the sounds around him. They were the sounds of the beast. Henry was quiet and listened. He could hear the thoughts of the beast. Got to eat, got to hunt, got to find more food. Big family, all need feeding. Crawling, swimming, flying, walking, anything will do. No, said Henry. No, thought the beast. Those creatures have families like you, said Henry. Like me, thought the beast. You will eat plants from now on, said Henry. They have parts to spare. I will eat plants, thought the beast. And now, said Henry, you will open your mouth as wide as you can and hold it like that for a bit. Open, thought the beast. And out flew Henry. Hey, someone called from the top of the tree. Everyone, it's Henry. Good morning, said Henry. Good morning, Henry Finch, said everyone. I have something to tell you, said Henry. But first, you have to be quiet. Everyone was quiet. Henry told the finches about everything that had happened, and they listened. And when he had finished, excuse me, no one moved. They stayed quiet. Then a little voice said, I have had a thought. Goodbye, everyone. I will come back. One by one, the finches flew off. We will come back, they called behind them. Henry looked up at them, and he smiled, a finch smile. Great, thought Henry. So Henry and all the other finches at the beginning of the story were all thinking the same thing, doing the same thing, right? What happened? Well, he did get swallowed by the beast. But why did he get swallowed by the beast? Was it because he was still doing what everybody else was doing? No. What did he do?
He tried to fight the beast, but all the beast did was swallow him whole.
He thought, right? He was listening to his thoughts, and his thoughts said, you can be great. And you can fight the beast. Did he fight the beast? No. That's right. It did work at the end, though. Have you ever thought thoughts? Have you ever had thoughts that gave you that feeling in your tummy that's like, ugh, I don't know if this is the right thing to do? Yeah? I think that is what our consciousness is. That is becoming aware. So, for example, if you're at school and all the kids are maybe picking on one particular kid, everyone is doing the same thing, picking on this one kid, but you have that feeling in your tummy of, I don't think this is the right thing to do. What would you do? Tell them to stop. That's right. Stand up for them. Yeah. The grown-ups are going to be talking a lot about that this month and what that means. So I just wanted to kind of bring you in on the conversation too. What do you think? Pretty big deal? Is it a big deal to listen to your thoughts and not just go along with the crowd? Yeah. I think so too. I want you to remember Henry Finch this week. And if you get that feeling deep down in your tummy, remember that that feeling is leading you to do the right thing. Okay? All right. Let's have a good day. Bye.
It's time for the offering. We give of our talents and treasures to this church. Each month we share the plate with an organization. We give half of the loose money in the plate and all the designated funds to the recipient. This month it is VAI Salute. Yeah, Salute. A local organization that supports our immigrant neighbors. We have partnered with them for many years. They work to help immigrants, both documented and undocumented, live, work, and thrive in our community. May the ushers please come forward now.
Stadt, das Herz so schwer wie Blei, bis je mein Weg ein je mein Weg ein Ende hat, dort knabbern der Bastei, dort knabbern der Bastei. Dort bleib ich auf der Brücke stehen und schau ins Tal hinaus. Ich mögt so gerne weitergehen, ich mögt so gerne weitergehen, ich mögt so gern nach Haus, ich mögt so gern nach Haus. Nach Haus, du wunderbares Wort, du magst das Herz mir schwer. Man nahm mir mein Zuhause fort, man nahm mir mein Zuhause fort, nun hab ich keines mehr, nun hab ich keines mehr. Ich wende mich betrübt und matt, so schwer wird mir dabei. Theresienstadt, Theresienstadt, wann wo das Leid ein Ende hat, wann sind wir wieder frei? Wann sind wir wieder frei?
It's a little wild, a little brave to begin the celebration of Women's History Month with a song that proclaims we can build a city of man. But TJ and Virginia, Cynthia and Rachel, Mary, Brandon and Robin, and everybody that I'm forgetting, man, let's give these folks a standing ovation for what they've done today. I love that these services are so super abundant that we're on a fast track to never needing another sermon again. Preach. I want to share with you that person beloved in this congregation, Taffy Rook, who came to us a few years ago from St. Augustine, Florida, where she served as one of the musicians in that UU congregation, and began to play for us here as part of our musical team. Taffy is on hospice now. Spent some time with her yesterday in a beautiful setting at the end of February with spring breaking open. And she's weak, but I shared the love of our congregation with her. And she said, I love you all, love you all. And then she just breathed for a little bit. She did like this with her fingers. She said, I'll be back. There's music that I need to play. You'll see on the front of your bulletin an image. Thank you to Ann Garner for agreeing that we could publish this full-color image, which required us to hand staple all of the bulletins this week instead of run it through the machine. You can see on the reverse there's a caption to explain what this image is. This is painted by a young woman who lives in Spartanburg, whose family fled Ukraine the week after Russian invasion, 4 years ago this week. This is a picture of the apartment where she lived and the swing set where she played and the tree that she loves, that she cannot look out of her window to see now. And bombs are raining on other cities. You heard in Virginia's story that even when we find ourselves in the dark, in the belly of the beast, our story isn't over. Share silence with me. Imagine a banker, a person who got into their profession because they are good with numbers and they know the value of money, just like Mary and Robin and Brandon represented today. Imagine a banker like that, who understands fear and also good stewardship and what fuel in the tank can do to help a car drive. And a person who is thoughtful to their colleagues, thoughtful to their clients, attentive to the needs of the people around them, who is conscientious in their accounting and in how they relate to people, how they care, responsive to the needs around them, and willing to extend themselves beyond the regular workday in order to be of service to their teammates and to those that they are there to serve, their customers. And that with their own resources that they develop through this following of their profession. They care for their family, good to their partner and to their children, and care for their community, give back through generosity and through volunteering and through support. Imagine a person who lived a life of such integrity, such deliberate good, fulfilling duty and expectations of what it means to be a good, moral person functioning in a society, contributing, building, constructing. A good person. All in the service of a bank that practices redlining and won't provide loans to people of color. That extends credit to people who cannot afford it, knowing it will drive them into debt from which they cannot easily recover. The person is just doing bank policy. And in terms of the history of our country, just following the laws of the land. This is permitted. It is possible to be an outstanding individual, fulfilling the summons of morality in service to violence. And to be told by civic institutions and religious institutions, by family and friends and philanthropy, and by the laws of the land, that we are good. We are the best. We are the ideal. And we are causing destruction in the lives of the people around us. This is the thought that occurred to Hannah Arendt as she sat in a courtroom in Jerusalem in the 1960s. Hannah Arendt was a German Jewish refugee from her homeland, eventually arriving in the United States in the 30s, fleeing the rising Nazi regime. She was educated in the very best universities in Germany, which was the epicenter of academic excellence in the world at that time. Trained by the very best philosophers who still are touted as the preeminent philosophers of the modern age. But because she was Jewish, she fled. And she found herself in the 1930s, this woman trained at the highest level of academic achievement in the world at that time, teaching entry-level German grammar to undergraduates at Bard College in New York, trying to help other refugees escape while the US government turned away boats of those refugees, and writing what, in my opinion, would become the very best philosophy of the 20th century. After the war, a man who had been one of the crucial Nazi functionaries in the Holocaust was apprehended by Israeli intelligence in Argentina and extradited to Israel for trial, Adolf Eichmann. And Hannah Arendt went as a correspondent for the New Yorker to report on this trial. And being the totally brilliant person that she was, she went not only to tell the story of the trial, but to research how all of this had come to be. What is it that had allowed this country of such remarkable cultural achievement? How had those people, her homeland, her country, descended into mass murder? She sat listening to this trial, writing her reports, thinking about what she heard. And the more she listened, the more disturbed she became. Because she had been sent to report on a monster. And in the courtroom, this arrested Nazi was treated as a monster. He was encased in a glass cage so that he could be seen and speak, but he had no physical access to anyone else. Like a beast, sequestered, to be scrutinized and examined, but not able to aggress against any of us ever again. And she listened to the tone of the prosecutors, who spoke not only about history and their understanding of facts, but with hyperbole and emotion, provoking those listening with the horror of what had happened. And it was horrible. She watched the scene set by the trial, presenting this man as demonic. But as she listened to him, she heard something else. And basically, what she heard was, he was stupid. It was hard for her to understand at first. The first thing that caught her attention was, he always spoke in cliches. And he often mangled them. And her discernment was, this guy doesn't have an original thought. And his thoughts are not even coherent. You can read her reports and see she represents the ways that he does this. And when you stop and listen to what he's saying, it's confusing. It's all tangled up. And there's no depth to any of it. And as she listened further, she heard clearly, not just the cheap line to escape responsibility, oh, I was just doing my duty, but something worse. This was how I could advance my career. This is what was expected of a government employee. I was doing my job because this is the way that you're supposed to do it. This is what I was taught to do, and I was good at it. That's what it meant to be good. Hannah Arendt saw in this man the collapse of her civilization. The way in which a person can be trained through common morality and family teaching, through law, and through the cliches of propaganda repeated over and over again, certainly malicious propaganda, but also just cheap firework patriotism, that you can be good and what is expected of you is just to do what your superiors ask. And that's how you take care of your family. For Hannah Arendt, this was the expression of what she called the banality of evil. That rather than being monstrous and demonic, the worst of human being comes out when we are thoughtless. When we don't follow the teaching of Socrates to examine our lives, and we just do what has been expected, then we are prone to manipulation and being exactly the opposite of the good that we think that we are. And as she studied this and researched it, she began to find not only that Adolf Eichmann had fallen into this trap of thoughtlessness, but that many, many, many people had done that. She even wrote extensively about Jewish leaders under pressure in the ghettos who capitulated to Nazi requirements on the idea that it would be helpful in delaying, in alleviating the heavy hand of the regime. compromising and compromising and compromising their way to complicity in murder. Now, when she published this report and said this guy wasn't a monster, and the whole stage had been set for the world to show that he was, and when she named people who had suffered in World War II as having been participants in the corruption that led to all of this, she did not become the world's most favorite person. I refer you to the hymn that we sang earlier from the Silver Hymnal. She was ripped to shreds. As happens when we make people think in ways they really don't want to think. And she said, the thing that we must do is think. Translated to our own day, I would just paraphrase that and say, what we must do is question. Question. Because we have a lot of smart people who do a lot of thinking and design a lot of plans. But I wish that they would question a lot more than all of us, because we are living within these institutions. This month we're going to work with the ideas of Hannah Arendt and just driving this question of questioning. We're doing this at the request of Mary Underwood, who purchased an auction sermon and who, reflecting on things she is reading and seeing, and also things that she hears from her clients and from all of us, seeing the need to call us to consciousness, to call us out of groupthink and self-righteousness, to ever be challenged by questioning what is really right. And that's the first step in this work, to allow consciousness to check us, to ask us to look at our blind spots, to ask us to be wary, to act as a caution. But there's another step in all of this, something that we can push beyond Hannah Arendt's own thought. And it's consciousness as a constructive act. It'll still earn you a lot of approbation and frustration from people, as you'll see in just a second. But the work of consciousness is enormously generative. Think of it like this. Imagine a small group of people. Let's put them in a weird situation. Let's make it 1940 Spartanburg in a Southern Baptist church in a Sunday school room. Doesn't sound very promising, does it? I grew up in the 80s and it felt like the 1940s Southern Baptist Sunday school room. But let's change one factor for these folks. None of them work for the mills. So they are not financially beholden to the people who exercise power in the town. What happens with people who do dearly want to be ethical and fulfill their life purpose, but cannot be financially coerced by the powers then ruling the town, or as our historian Marion Tisdale would say it, who exercise the golden rule? Those with the gold get to make the rules. People who aren't entrapped by that. Those people might ask questions. Questions of God and each other and of their segregated society and of an economic system using the stretch out to demand more labor for no more pay, of a working class that is not unionized and cannot advocate for itself. What might those people do? And we know what they would do. They would create the UU. That's how we started here. This church was born out of a bunch of people who were free enough in a very unfree society, whatever the patriotic word about it was, to ask questions. Think about aptly named Finch, and if that evokes another novel, let it. In the belly of the beast, asking questions. Now, I got a lot of stories about what comes out of this work of consciousness, but I am conscious of time, and that if I want to keep telling you these stories, I'm going to have to stop now. So we'll share more of these stories through this month. Consciousness, Hannah Arendt says, is a check to help us turn around and not fall into traps. And this place teaches us that consciousness is generative, it's constructive. It can help us create things that never existed before and that do real good in the world. Think about what this place has done since the 1940s. Just think about that. But consciousness is not even only about that. It's not just about doing good work. And we saw that here only 2 Sundays ago, when a woman of supreme consciousness, and you can tell by the way she thinks and chooses her words and is very careful in how she chooses to engage, and when she engages, oh my God, it hits the mark every time. Denise German stood in our pulpit and read us a children's story, a black folk tale from the fields of this country. Hear that clearly, the fields of this country, telling us that just like Finch, even when you are in the belly of the beast, the people can fly. And at the end of that story, Denise spread out her arms like a person who can fly. And she said, I have told you this story, that even in the belly of the beast, you can be free, so that you will fly too.
Please join us in hymn 298 in the gray hymnal, Wake Now My Senses. Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in
Extinguishing the chalice. Thinking is dangerous. From philosopher Hannah Arendt. There are no dangerous thoughts. Thinking itself is dangerous.
When the service is over, there is coffee hour in the fellowship hall, and there will be a volunteer training here for the Away Home program, where we welcome homeless families, unhoused families to stay here at the church, grab coffee, grab food, and come to be a part of the training if you'd like. I want to urge you to read your unison this month. There are reports there and announcements to show what came out of that Sunday school classroom at Saxon Baptist Church in the 1940s. See what lineage we stand in, and what asking questions to push ourselves to consciousness can do. And when you are in the belly of the beast, prepare yourself to fly.